prepare, let's simply allow ourselves to be grounded. Simply in this moment of groundedness, allow ourselves to be breathed. Sinking and relaxing into the very presence of creation, knowing that with each breath, we go within. With each breath, we go to that place that Yeshua spoke about. The kingdom of heaven is within. So we allow ourselves to be breathed, going within. Knowing that in this moment, we are gathered here for a sacred purpose. The purpose of awakening, illuminating, evolving, and transcending, that we may ever become greater and greater expressions of the I Am presence, the Christ consciousness. We know this to be so, and so it is. Amen. So, what are we talking about today? So, those of you who follow me on Facebook, you know that I post this thing on, it's every Monday, and it says, Ask Reverend Dr Ray Monday. And people ask me all sorts of things. And I open it up to let them ask me whatever you want to ask me. So I get some deep metaphysical, well, do you believe that in the midst of suffering that, do you prefer lemon cookies or chocolate chips? Like literally, that's the spectrum. But someone recently asked me something, sort of a hodgepodge of things referencing Buddhism and New Thought and Christianity, traditional Christianity and stuff. And it's centered around this idea of Dharma, right? And Dharma and how that ties into suffering and struggle and stuff. So before I answer, I always do my best to just center myself, because sometimes the questions come and I want to respond from, hey, this is Ray, and this is my answer. And I say, well, sometimes Ray doesn't know what he's talking about. So let me, except when it comes to cookies, I do. So I center myself and I breathe, and then I say, okay, what does Spirit in me, as me, moving through me, want to tell itself in, as, and through that person? So, and I started thinking about it though, especially in light of all the things that are going on in the news and stuff, right? And I find that there are a lot of us, spiritual folks, who fall down the rabbit hole of buying into this whole thing of suffering and challenge and misery, right? Versus, remember how many of you were here on Sunday, this past Sunday when I was here? Okay, so you remember when I made that Myrtle Fillmore quote, and I said that she said, we must train our way of speaking, basically. We have to be very mindful of what comes out of this thing, because whatever comes out of this thing is created. But do we believe that? Because there are a lot of us spiritual folks who say, well, yeah, I mean, Om Shanti, yes, everything comes out of my mouth. But then we'll turn around and say something in a flip of a dime that... So it's very easy to be both in spiritual land and human personality land. And at any given moment, we're playing hopscotch, trying to figure out which of these two worlds we're in. So I said, well, let's delve into this, what this means for us, right? Especially when it comes down to, I always reference linguistic convenience. And what does it mean to say things? One of the things I say, there is no try. Not to quote Yoda, but there is no try. Either you're doing it or you're not doing it. So, but we say try, and that's fine as long as we know we're coming from a consciousness that says, either I'm doing it or I'm not doing it. Either I'm exercising or I'm not. Either I'm doing Reiki and healing people or I'm not. Either I'm praying or I'm not. Either it's one or the other. You can't... Remember the example that I gave on Sunday about that hot coffee cup? If it's hot, there is no process of, can I borrow that for a second? Is this yours? Okay. So this is put in the microwave and, ow! Oh, this is, I'm in the process of letting it go. Oh, this is really burning me. Ouch, ouch, I'll get to it soon. Oh, this is really hot. We don't do that when it comes down to physical pain. But we do it when it comes down to emotional, psychological, and spiritual things. We take this time to allow ourselves to nurse the wound. I understand, and I understand the concept of AA and NA, and I understand. My parents were both alcoholics. And I understand there is a point of, hello, I'm Ray, and I am a alcoholic. I understand that entry-level position. But at some point, this is me, at some point, claim the stronger I am. I am whole, I am perfect, I am complete. I am no longer that person. I am no longer claiming the need for that, because I'm now this I am, right? But we say things, I'm depressed today. I'm frustrated. I'm lonely, I'm broke, I'm poor, we give all of these things that we're affirming that I am. I am that I am. Taking the very name of God and manifesting more of this thing. But what if we spun the top in a different way and said, challenge isn't bad. Being faced with challenge or challenges is not a bad thing. Anybody in here play chess? I don't. It's one of my regrets that my father played chess like a madman. And I was too busy doing Ray stuff to let him teach me how to play chess. Anybody know play chess? One of the great things about chess is the challenge of playing someone who is of equal or near equal or greater skill, because it forces you to be on your A game. If you're playing chess with someone who says, so is this a lot like checkers? No! I mean, similar, but no! Well, is it like tic-tac? No, it's not like tic-tac. What? You want to be challenged by someone. How many people in here, we talked about this earlier, how many people watch football? Do you prefer a game where they just ran over the team? As soon as they get the ball, boom, touchdown, boom, touchdown, boom, touchdown. Or do you like a game where it's neck and neck? There's the challenge of it. Challenge is not a bad thing, but we've given it a bad reputation. So what if everything in our lives that we put into this category of whatever, and we say, this is giving me the opportunity to grow, to transform, transcend, transmute, transmogrify whatever's going on in my life, so that I come out the other side who and what I'm supposed to be. So, how many people in here are gardeners? There comes a time when you have to shovel some onto for fertilizer, right? So sometimes that is a good thing. But we never want it to be. The diamond takes a lot of heat and pressure to become a diamond. Prior to that, it's a chunk of coal. The caterpillar goes into the cocoon and literally liquefies itself, becomes liquid to become a new creation. If someone said, so what do you want to be? And you say, oh, if money weren't an issue, or fear wasn't an issue, or whatever was an issue, this is what I would want to be. And I say, okay, check this out. Here's a sleeping bag. You climb in it. We're going to liquefy you. And then in 3 days, you'll come out and you'll be a millionaire with your own publishing company. How many of us would say, well, how do I get in the sleeping bag? We would say, whoa, whoa. Did you just say you're going to liquefy me? Yes. But there's proven scientific evidence that it works. No. It would scare us half to. So, things happen in our lives. Challenges. One of the other things that came up on Ask Reverend Dr Ray Monday, someone said something about racism. And I said, check this out. A couple of weeks ago, I went to work with Tracy and met a friend for coffee in DC, and on my way back to the metro, car pulls up beside me, well, starts back here, and I'm walking, and I hear the N-word. And the car pulls up beside me, and there's a group of guys screaming out the window, "You effing," and then it pulls forward, and their light turned red. So in that moment, what do? Do I stop and wait till they go? Do I turn around and go? Or do I keep on walking? Now the challenge is, now trust and believe, if it had been nighttime, I would have ran. I'm not gonna lie, I got a black belt, and I got a black belt and I got tennis shoes, and I'm not afraid to run. So don't get it twisted. But it's daylight, and I do my best to remember, walk the walk and talk the talk. So in that moment of wanting to say something back, I hear these words: Myrtle, never say anything that you do not want to have show up in your life. Really? You would just show up right now and say this? Train your words, train your thoughts, train your... Okay, you and Charles, you know somewhere right now, because I don't know what you're in my head at this present moment, right? But it's walk the walk and talk the talk. So in that moment, I walked, and I know that there's only one power and one presence, and it's right there in that car. They don't know it, so I'm going to know it for them. And as their light changed green and they started to pull off, namaste. And then I paused, because there was a part of my ego that said, did you just bow to the people that called you all out? You know how in the comic books or the cartoons there was the one angel and the devil? And the angel said, yes, that's exactly what he did, and that's what we should be doing more of. And nobody called. And then I kept on walking to my metro. Now I say this because we all face a variety of situations that stand before us. Some of them knock us to our knees. Some of them knock us face down. However, Les Brown used to say, if life is going to knock you down, then fall on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up. So life is going to, this thing we call life, has a variety of things. You surf, you're going to fall off the surfboard. I've never heard of a surfer who's like, I got this. I'm done. Do it again. Ooh, that's a big wave. It's 3,000 feet. I've never heard of a surfer who's never wiped out. Motorcycle racers who've never fallen, skiers who have never fallen. I've never heard of this. So in this game of life, sometimes we are going to fall. So what? It comes with the territory. How many of us as children ran and played hard and got a boo-boo and went to mom or dad or somebody and they're like, I'm good, man. I got to go play some more. They want to baby us, but I'm good. I'm ready to climb another tree. I'm Spider-Man today. I got to jump from that tree to save the city. You got to do what? Trust me, I'm Batman. Okay, we played hard. And then somewhere we became adults and we started to play it safe. It's time to, why does it say in the Bible? Be as children. Be innocent. Stop telling ourselves of all the guilt and shame we should be feeling. Be innocent. Be imaginative. Let ourselves, when we were kids, somebody give you a rock, and we were like MacGyver. Here's a rock, here's a stick, and a paper clip, and we created universes. This is my magic wand. This paper clip shall become a shield. Like we just made it. And then we became adults who, stop imagining stuff. It's life. You can't be daydreaming all the time. But every great invention started with someone imagining and daydreaming it. It's the 50th year of Star Trek. You know how much stuff we have to thank Gene Roddenberry's imagination for, from phones to touch screens to eventually transporters, the food replicator. Why? Because, and I've had this conversation with people before. Well, clearly a phone is more possible than a food replicator. Says who? Says who? With the way quantum physics is happening now, who says that someone can't eventually figure out the molecular structure of something, put it in a machine, hit a button and say, hot chocolate with marshmallows. And it's there. Why not? But if there's that part of our adult mind that wants to say, it can't be, it'll never. World peace, that's not possible. For as long as we want to fight, it's not possible. Why is it not possible? Because we don't believe that it's possible. I was recently asked, this one tattoo on my throat, is it me? And in the Kabbalah, 72 names of God. And one of them is Ayin Resh Yud, pronunciation, but Ayin Resh Yud, which is absolute certainty. Not without a doubt. Because to be without a doubt, you have to have doubt. You have to have the concept of doubt in your mind to then be without it. It's like a lot of motivational speakers would say, do not think of a pink elephant in a tutu eating an ice cream cone. And the moment I say it, your mind starts to say, elephant, tutu. Like, yeah, you can't not think of once the idea is. So to be without a doubt, somewhere in there, your mind must be on the concept of doubt. Absolute certainty is a totally different energy. And I'm absolutely certain, because there's no way I would have been able to be here doing this, knowing where I used to be. Knowing that I used to be a Baptist that hated, literally, hated anyone that wasn't Christian. Hated. To the degree that, now, I don't know if you ever heard of people talk about like internalized racism, where like black people don't like black people. Crazy stuff, but I actually know some people who. But then you have internalized homophobia. And you have all, trust and believe, Ray was going through some stuff back in Pittsburgh up until 2000 that had Robin Williams committed suicide, then so would I. I have no doubt in my mind, because I love the man that much, that if it had been anywhere from 2000 and before, I would have done it. Because I know what I was going through then. I know how much I hated me. I know how much I hated my family. But something shifted and changed. And then something else shifted and changed. So I liquefied. The phoenix rose from the ashes again and again and again, to the point where now there are moments where things will pop in my mind and I will say, I'm not sure when. I'm not sure how. But I know why. And as long as I know why, the when and the how will take care of themselves. I have absolute certainty in that. I have nothing but absolute certainty that every single one of us are light. I have absolute certainty that every single one of us, we are love in manifestation. And that all of the challenges and stuff going on in life serve the purpose of taking the diamond and making it strong. And making it beautiful. And making it this magnificent work of art. Because that's ultimately what we are. We are the universe showing up as us, as a masterpiece. So we are both the artist, the work of art, and the creative process all rolled into one. But we have to employ that. You know what I mean? You have to put it into being. Speak about it. Think about it. Walk and move and have your beingness about that. And then we have no choice but to see the external situations of the world change, because that's our Dharma. To work in the cosmic order of the I Am, the cosmic order of Christ consciousness. Every single New Thought founder, the person in the past, faced some challenge that was the impetus of making them birth anew. Myrtle had the experience of tuberculosis, and others had money issues. Everybody's got something that said, I believe there can be better. Let me find it. Because if you didn't believe there could be better, you wouldn't even look for it. If you lose your keys and you know for a fact you look, I left my binder here this past Sunday.
Yes, you did.
Yesterday, I'm in the house looking for it. And Tracy says, what are you looking for? And I said, my binder. And she said, the one that you left at Unity Back Bay? And all I did was laugh. Because I stopped looking for it. But how many of us look for stuff that we know isn't there? How many of us look to our parents for love that they're not ready or able to give in that moment? But we won't love ourselves enough in that moment because we're still looking for some external justification, gratification, something from something outside of us. The entire universe is right inside of you. All that God is right inside of you. I make the example and I say there's a chocolate cake. I love chocolate cake. There's a chocolate cake. And you take a slice out of it. Is that slice the entire chocolate cake? That slice is not the entire cake, right? But that slice is entirely chocolate cake. So we are not all of God, but all of what we are is God. So remember what I said Sunday, and I'm going to open up for a couple of questions if you have some. Remember what I said Sunday, one of the things I do my best to remind myself of and say that every person that I see and everyone that sees me is seeing the face of God. Everyone that I hear and everyone who hears me is hearing the voice of God. And everyone who touches me and everyone that I touch is touching the hand and the body of God. That means those young men that were in the car, because everyone that I see, that's the face of God. I hear them. They're not talking. It's not a prayer that's coming out of their mouths. But what I hear is God. It's my choice what I see and what I hear. Because I could have really easily went to, it's hate. They're filled with hate, and I hate them because they hate me, and they don't even know. I could have really easily, David Bruce Banner turning into the Incredible Hulk was not that far. But by choice, I chose that. And every single one of us in every moment, with every breath, we have the opportunity to say, my thoughts are prayers. And I am always praying. And if my thoughts are prayers, then my words are prayers. And that means everything that comes out of my mouth is a prayer. When I say, I'm broke, is that what I want to be praying about? When I say, well, the doctor said, is that what I want to be praying about? Well, no one likes me. Is that what I want to be praying about? Train this thing very well, like Caesar does with the... Anybody watch Caesar? Dog whispers. Get it under control, because the words that are coming out are a prayer. So at this moment, perfect typo. I have 5 minutes remaining. So are there any questions that you would like to ask? Because normally we don't have an opportunity to do like Q&A. So do you have any questions that you would like to ask me? And it's, once again, it's like on Monday. Anything's fair game. Yes, sir.
Well, it's kind of a comment, and I believe that one of the first steps to change and healing is awareness and acknowledgement of the current situation. So if I'm feeling angry when I wake up in the morning, okay, acknowledge, wow, I'm feeling angry. And then, how do I want to handle that in a positive way? So there's always the acknowledgement step first.
Oh yeah, that's
and not
enough.
shutting it out and saying, oh, I'm not angry.
Yes, denial never works.
Yeah.
If you get in denial, you're going to drown. We have a shadow side, as Jung would talk about. We have a shadow side for a reason. You know, a lot of people talk about kill the ego. Well, if we believe that God is all there is, then on some level the ego serves a purpose. So, you know, acknowledge it, but then we have the choice of what do I do with it? Because a lot of times we'll stuff the anger away. I'm too spiritual. I'm not supposed to be angry. Why? You're feeling it for a reason. Something came up, and the young men said what they said to me. Anger started to come up first. Why? Why what they're saying? Why would that make me angry? Because that means what they said has some power over me to elicit this response. Am I angry right now? Do I feel angry right now? Is my experience of anger right now? Yes. How do I choose to express it? Do I choose to hold on to it and say, I have righteous indignation in my right hand, and I shall smite thee, young men, because, or do I say, what is this about? I forget what what is this about? What in me did those words, but I have to acknowledge it, I have to recognize, whatever it is, whether it's loneliness, fear, whatever that is. When I hit that 300-ish whatever, and my doctor said, Ray, I'm afraid that if I let you walk out of here without a prescription, you're not coming back. My blood pressure, my cholesterol was so high, she was scared for me. And seeing the fear in her eyes scared me. Like, ooh, Dr. Shiitake is scared right now. Something needs to change. But if I don't acknowledge that I'm afraid, I'm like, she don't know what she's talking about. Give me some cake. Give me some cookies. And then she wouldn't have seen me because I wouldn't have paid attention. So yes, we have to acknowledge, we have to recognize, and yes, awareness is the very first, it's a must. Yes, I agree with you completely. Yes, yes.
So actually, I guess, I don't even keep bringing up your same example, but so with those guys that said that, okay, so they're supposed to just learn that lesson on their own, and that's like, how do you, like me, I want to like show them that that's wrong. Like, that's why it made me mad. I'm like, no, you can just not say anything because then they think that that's okay.
I got you 100%. Now,
Can you repeat what you?
yes, so they said what they said, and there should be some level of saying something to them to either teach them, educate them, or show them that what they're saying, what they're doing is not approvable, not appropriate, and not acceptable, right? Rather than saying, not going to say anything, right? Rather than saying namaste. Think about it like a parent and a child, right? So I'm the parent, you'll be the child. How many times does a parent say, young lady, you will not do, and then the child does the exact, right? So there are moments, and those are with people who love us, and we don't listen to them. So sometimes people, in the grand scheme of things, we learn what we learn when we are supposed to learn what we learn. So the way I understand it, the way I process it, in my taking the higher consciousness, I know that there's only one mind. There's only one spirit. So the moment I know and acknowledge and they don't get a response out of me, somewhere in my mind it says, wait a minute, we just called this man all out of his name. He smiled at us and then did a bow. We were expecting him to curse us out so we could get out the car, but he didn't. Why not? And if one of them questions that, that might be enough. So in the grand scheme of things, my job is to stay in Ray's lane, drive Ray's car, put on Ray's shoes, and trust that this one spirit got them. As challenging as that is sometimes, because I have 5 sons, and there are times that what are you doing? Go about your business. Go about your business. I got to pray for you. I got to go meditate. Dad, got to go meditate. Leave me alone. So yes, there are moments, but even in that, they're grown. I have to trust that they have their own path. That Spirit has them, and I believe that is my time. So once again, if you ever have any questions, feel free to ask me or whatever. But let's ground ourselves real quick. And in this moment of being breathed, of inhaling and exhaling, we know, and we know that we know, there's only one power and one presence, and it is right here, showing up in us, it is with us, and it is showing up as us. So that everywhere we walk, we make hallowed ground. Every word that we speak is a prayer. Every thought that we think is a prayer. We're divine beings having this amazing spiritual experience that we call human. It's all God and it's all good. Amen.
Amen.